Hello, everyone. My name is Doreen Fulton, your host for today's video interview with Marcelle Charrois. I met Marcelle a few weeks ago at a transformational authors retreat, and I'm delighted to introduce you to her. I quickly learned that Marcelle has a heart of gold, a wonderful sense of humor, and is coming out in a big way, similar to Diana Ross so many years ago. I want to introduce you to Marcelle more formally, and then we'll begin our interview. Marcelle has many titles. First and foremost, Marcelle is a coach and an inner child and heart truth facilitator. She is also an energy and sound vibration healer and an ambassador of change at the Messenger Network. Marcelle is also a transformational author and has 3 books to her credit: The Alien in Your Closet, Pearls of Wisdom, and Pebbles in the Pond. Marcelle, are you with me?
Oh, yes, I'm here. I'm so happy to be with you, Doreen.
Well, I am so delighted that you're with me as well. Marcelle, I know that we've talked quite a lot, and I would really like you to share briefly about the family that you grew up in.
Sure, I'll love to do that. I come from a family of 4 children, 2 older sisters and a younger brother. And we had a very interesting dynamic as a result of a couple tragic events with my mom's first 2 children, which were my older sisters. My mother had trouble birthing my first sister, her first child, my sister Louise, and they had to use these clamps to pull her out. And unbeknownst to everyone, they had displaced her spine at the time. And nobody noticed it until it was too late. It wasn't until she was 11 years old when finally a doctor diagnosed it as cerebral palsy as a result of that displacement of the spine way back when she was born. If that, and that was, already enough, tragic enough and already difficult enough for my family to digest. They noticed that she wasn't developing normally, and to be given this news 11 years after the fact, that was really, really difficult. My second sister, Guylaine, was 18 months when the other unfortunate happening occurred, and that was when my mother took her in to get a vaccine done. I forget what the vaccine was, but it was a regular vaccine for kids at the time. And my sister had a little cold, and my mother was not aware that you did not get the vaccine when there was a cold, because there was a risk. And they lived in a part of Montreal that was pretty English. And when she went to the clinic to get this done with my sister, the nurse that was there did not speak French. So she did not make an effort, obviously, to get someone that could speak French and verify this with my mom, not realizing that the child had a cold. Anyways, all this to say, the vaccine was administered, and there was a reaction with the cold virus, and my sister became autistic as a result. Had within a day of first being able to stand in her crib and smiling and being a very active child, within the next day she was laying in her crib staring at her hand. So my mom knew something was wrong, and so it was a pretty tragic beginning of their little family. And of course, when I came along, there was a lot of fear. Actually, my mom lost a child before she had me. This is another thing. And then when she was pregnant with me, obviously had a lot of fear about, I hope this next child will not have something happen to them, So it was a very interesting dynamic of my 2 sisters having special needs. And, kind of being the little helper around the house with my mom, because she just had so much on her plate. With the 2 of them, just never being able to have your eyes off of them, because they were always into something. And so I would be running around the house watching for my mom and helping her out. And she'd always say, Marcelle, you're such a little ray of sunshine for me. I'm so glad you're here. So it, it really helped. But the dynamic is interesting for me as, as I grew up, because I never really learned to cater to my own needs, to know what I wanted. Everything is always focused on other people because of the necessity. It really was quite the task to take care of my sisters and have everything kind of run as smoothly as possible. And I did my best to excel in everything and not cause any problems with my parents, so that they didn't have anything else to worry about. And then my little brother came along 5.5 years later, so as a little surprise. So that was basically my family dynamic.
Yes. Well, I know that as you got older, you got a job. Can you tell me a bit about your early career?
Well, my early career kind of started when I was a kid. There was a show on TV that I used to love to watch, which was Lassie. I don't know if you remember that show. And I would watch this, with my family religiously. And I dreamt of having a dog like Lassie and going around the world and helping people. So from when I was a little kid, I just had this, strong passion for doing that. I just wanted to help people, just like I did my mom when I was a little kid as well. And so that naturally gravitated into, when I was in high school, I started teaching swimming lessons and lifeguarding outside in the summer. I was working a lot with little kids, and I just loved it. It was just awesome to work with the little ones. And that gravitated into some studies in business, where I majored in human resources management and marketing, a minor in marketing. And I started working in HR and all kinds of programs, becoming a learning advisor and trainer in various capacities. And all of it was always focused on helping others in whatever area that needed help in that particular job I was doing.
Right.
So yeah, so that kind of is a bit my background with jobs.
Yes. Well, the helping theme runs through it all. When did you discover that you needed to do something more, something that you could really enjoy?
Well, there were two catalysts to me kind of waking up to, or reawakening to, this deep knowing feeling that there was more I could do. I just actually felt really trapped in a box, because I couldn't fully explore my creativity and everything that I knew I could do in the corporate environment I worked in. I did help as much as I could, and I think I did do good work there, and I helped a lot of people. But I felt like I could do so much more. And what was one of the catalysts was my mom passed away earlier than what most of us would have wanted. She was only 62 as she was diagnosed with lung cancer, and within 7 months of that was transition. So it was quite the awakening for me, because I figured, gosh, my mom was gone at 62. I'm, in my 30s. I was in my 30s at the time, and I'm thinking, gosh, Marcelle, got to be doing, maybe it's time you start doing things that you really feel passionate about. So there's a lot of thinking about that, when that happened. And I kept going, because I didn't quite know how to transition into, working for myself and creating something where I could really serve others in a bigger way. And what that wound up happening is that I'm so not used to not able to take care of myself properly, because I was so focused on others in a workplace. I got burnt out. I really got totally burnt out and had to leave my work with absolutely no savings to my name, and struggled through. But during that struggle, during that very difficult time in my life, which was the second catalyst to really pushing me in the right direction, I had time to really tune into myself, take care of myself, think about what I wanted, and to realize how much stronger I was in getting through things, and giving credit to my strengths and my gifts and all of that. So it really allowed me to stop, is what it did, to stop doing the things that weren't working anymore, that weren't in service to myself or anybody else. I mean, if I'm burning myself out, I'm not going to be able to help others. So that was a big, big, big wake-up call.
Right. Well, I hear you really, saying you had to stop. You knew that you had the two catalysts, getting ill really slowed you down. But as a result of that illness and losing your mom at such a young age, what product emerged from that dark period?
Well, what emerged from that is I had the opportunity to join a program called the Mini Messenger Book Program with Robert Evans.
Yes.
During the time I was off work, which was kind of like a lifeline for me throughout. It allowed me to journal a lot to start with, and then I really got into the idea of actually writing a book and self-publishing, which I did, which is my first little book here, which is The Alien in Your Closet that you spoke about earlier. And it's my little sense of humor here, kind of coming out, peeking out at people in this little book, and it really helped me actually recover from the illness and rediscover myself, and I felt I could help others do the same by writing the book. And I talk about a little process called Stop, Reverse, and Celebrate there, and that little process transpired to two other little books that I have the privilege of being published with. This one and with another, 27, well, we're 30 authors in total, with Jack Canfield, Marcy Shimoff, Chris Atwood and Janet Gray Atwood, and a number of, new leaders in transformational leadership. And then that transpired into, as you know, because I shared this book with you, Doreen, To Pebbles in the Pond, which is another beautiful anthology led by Christine Closer, who's a transformational catalyst, and along with over 40 awesome authors from around the world. So, it's just been a wonderful ride.
That is so great. One book after another. You've actually now published almost 3 times with the published, with Pebbles in the Pond being published in May. You'll have 3 books in a very short period of time. Miraculous. It's really wonderful. Marcelle, I'll be leaving you now, but we will reconnect and we'll talk a bit more about Pearls of Wisdom. And we'll go more deep into that whole area. So I very much appreciate the time that we've spent together. Thanks for telling me about your family, your work, and how these books emerged when you were feeling really at the end of your rope. This is wonderful and quite inspirational. So thank you.
You're very welcome. And like you said, Doreen, the biggest breakthroughs often come in the deepest of despair and hardship that we experience. So I look forward to talking more in the next piece of our interview. Thank you so much, Doreen.
Bye.
Cool.
I'm hanging up, and I'll be back in about 10 minutes.